special things that I have learned from being a TEDx speaker and actually a speaker already for 16 years. Everybody, this is a late night video that I'm making at the end of a long day of work, and you can see Goku over here, and I'm so excited because we're prepping for our last event this year, Project 1 Million in 1 Year. If you're not part of it yet, make sure to register. The link is below here. But I just want to share 2 very special tips about speaking, and specifically the type of speaking that I like to do, which is making a speech or making a story or a presentation that really touches people's hearts. And just to let you know, for those of you who don't know me yet, make sure to subscribe and follow and all of these things. I've been speaking since 2008, I believe, or maybe even sooner than that, I don't actually know. But I've been speaking from a perspective of doing talks around wormholes and everything that is to do with science and black holes and wormholes and that sort of stuff for a long time, because I was invited to compete in a competition at the university when I was studying in my astrophysics degree. And then I thought wormholes are very exciting, so I learned all about them and I took part in a competition and I won, and that was in 2008. And then I was going to go to the grand opening of the astronomical year in 2009. I had very special VIP tickets that I won as being the winner for this European contest, and in the end I didn't go because I was busy doing other things. But since then I have learned so many other things in speaking as well. When I went into business in 2016, I learned speaking on another level, really being able to empower people in ways that I've actually never been able to do even before that. So I've learned a lot. I've learned so much from my dad ever since my speaking career began in 2008-ish. And then I've learned so much from my mentor, Master Sri Akashna. And that has literally made a huge impact in my life, in being able to make an impact in other people's lives. So these 2 tips that I want to give you today are going to be very important if you want to make that impact. Now, if you want to also be able to make sales from stage, be a platform closer, or just allow yourself to use these presentations to also pitch your product, then obviously there's a lot more other things to consider as well. But these 2 things are also very important in that, because if you're not able to really truly impact someone, then it's much harder to close someone as well. So here it goes, the 2 tips that I want to share. Number 1, and you can probably already tell this one, you probably already know this one, but are you considering it whenever you're making your speech? It is that this speech is not about you. It's about people in the crowd. And if there is just one person in that crowd that you can touch the heart of, then that's your job done. And so why am I saying this, and why does it actually to me feel like, of course, it's very, very normal to hear or not normal to think, is because it's not necessarily always as normal, because we obviously go and be invited to give a speech, or you go somewhere to give a speech, or it's impromptu, whatever the situation is. And a lot of the time we want to talk about certain things that excites us, that we are passionate about, or something that we are knowledgeable about, and we want to share that knowledge, that excitement, that passion with the audience. But is it something that excites them as much as it excites us? That's the question. And a lot of the time, not necessarily, unless you are able to think of what is actually important to my audience. So it could be that you're speaking to a specific audience, that you know what is important to them, and you know the setting of the speech, and maybe they are a specific professional setting and there are certain things that are on their mind. That's one thing that you can do your research and then figure that out. But another part is also just normal human knowledge, like what's on the forefront of most people's mind. A lot of the time it's money. Like Are they able to pay the bills? Are they able to do something? Do they want to accomplish a certain financial goal or certain professional goal? How can you help them with that? Another thing could be health. They are not the most healthy of people, or they have back pain, or there's something going on and they wish they were more healthy, they wish they were more fit, things like that. And the third thing, and these are, by the way, the 3 mega niches in the world that will always give people business, is relationships. Is their relationship with their spouse right? Or is the relationship with their children, their parents, with their colleagues? Maybe there's something on there, the relationship with themselves. So what is very important is to always ask the question is, what is important for my audience? What is important for people? And one of my mentors, Master Shakash, always used to say, what's in it for them? What if they come to listen to you and they have their own busy schedule, or they could be doing all these different things on their phone instead of listening to you? How can you figure out what's really in it for them to go and listen to you? So if I want to share a story about wormholes, how can I make it interesting for my audience? Because wormholes are not the types of things that we deal with in our everyday life. So how can I make this something that is useful for people? Can I maybe talk about something that is connected with something that matters to them? Or if I'm talking about business, how can I relate it to the audience? Now, one very special technique that you can do to ensure that is by asking a question. Simply ask the crowd, what is it that you're here for? What is it that you would like to learn? Are you interested in blah, 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 blah? Raise your hand. Stuff like that is what you can apply to figure that out. And one of the things that always allow for that connection to happen much quicker and for people to have an open mind towards you much more is tip number 2, which is stand out. And stand out with your authenticity. Dare to be different, because what you probably got to understand is that people have seen more than one speech. They have seen more than one presentation, and they probably see a lot of the same stuff. There are certain rules of speaking, certain rules of engagement, like the typical script of a speech is a person comes, does an icebreaker, then says, well, you're probably thinking why I'm qualified to speak to you, blah, 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 blah. And that makes total sense, because you should allow the crowd to know, you should allow the crowd to figure out what is this thing that makes you an expert to talk about a certain topic. But what is also important is that you are aware of how those things, those structures are there, and they're certainly important, but also how you can deliver it in a totally different way. And you can allow your unique character, your unique energy to shine through. Now, this is something that, especially when I went into business, I learned about a lot more. But already when I was doing my wormhole talks, one of the things that really allowed the crowd to enjoy my sessions, which by the way were, I believe, long sessions. I can't remember it fully anymore, but I think I had 1.5 hour or 2 hour sessions. And afterward, I remember so many of the crowd came to ask questions, take photos, and sometimes even ask for an autograph. It was so crazy. I remember very much in 2009 when that was happening, and it was actually after Michael Jackson's supposed death. I'm one of those people. That I was listening to Michael Jackson's music, and I was listening to all of his songs and watching all of his interviews. And then I had a big speaking gig in Amsterdam at the Artists Zoo Institute. They had a big, what was it again? A big aquarium, no, not aquarium. It was like, how do they call this? This is this thing, an astronomical thing, which made sense for the astronomical topic. I don't know how they call it anymore, but it was cool. And that was my first 300 people crowd that I spoke to. And I remember that I was tapping in and tuning in into how can I stand out? How can I be myself? How can I share, like what Michael Jackson always said, your magic with people? How can you make magic? How can you be there with the crowd? Allow you and the crowd together to make an experience. How can you take them along that journey, make them smile, make them have sparkles in their eyes? And I remember so much that as I was speaking in front of that crowd, I was thinking to myself, like, oh my goodness, imagine how Michael Jackson must have felt when he was from a kid age onwards speaking, but mostly singing and performing, but also on occasion speaking in front of huge audiences and have them feel the magic and have them experience that magic with them. And I remember that day particularly, I felt like just a small glimpse of what that must have felt like. And it really felt good. And so my tip to you, if you are an aspiring speaker or you are a speaker and you want to add something extra that will, number one, help you empower the crowd more and help you connect with your crowd more. But also, if you're looking to make money from this, become a paid speaker that gets invited, or become that person that is able to make such an impact on your audience that they want to do business and they come to you and they say, hey, I want to work with you, I love your energy, that you are able to just actually really tap into your authenticity, in your connection with the audience, and not be afraid. I think that's one of the biggest things. Don't be afraid to be different. Don't be afraid or stuck with certain things that everybody expects of you. Understand that you and I and everyone in this world are actually one. We are all one. We are all created by what I believe in God. And as much as we are all put into different vessels, we are still connected. And my spirit is in this vessel and your spirit is in your vessel, but still we are made of the same magic. So how can we allow that magic to come to life and do it in a way that makes you smile? And if you smile in your heart, the other person can feel it. And like talking about techniques, which is not really what is the topic of this particular video, but looking a person in the eye for a little moment and allow them to see your smile. Like imagine if I'm looking you in the eye and I'm smiling and I'm getting excited, I feel excited, then it also hopefully puts a smile on your face. Like how can you make magic? And for me, it is really by just being myself and not being afraid from what other people think. Just if I want to sing, I sing. If I want to dance, I dance. If I want to do something funky, I do that. And I do it in a way whilst making that moment with the audience. And I see as well that comedians are really good at that. Comedians, I've recently been studying comedy quite a bit and just seeing the power of it, seeing the way how people that are telling jokes, how it's so important to connect and it's so important to understand what allows to put a smile on your audience face. So if you want to become a better speaker, then have a look also at not necessarily only the field of speaking, but also neighboring fields. That's why I love studying Michael Jackson as that artist, because he's allowing you to transport to a different place where for a moment, sometimes you forget all of the negativity, all of the things that are holding you back, the struggles that you're facing in your own life. But then one of the things that I always love to do as well and teach the speakers that I work with, that you are able to then elevate them also. So you're inspiring them. And I think that's what Michael Jackson does as well. He does this so well, even though he might not be a person that closes from stage, he actually does. He closes people on believing in magic and believing in that things are possible and that you don't have to feel afraid and that you can just be uplifted and believe in yourself and go for it and do amazing things. And I think that is what is important and how to go about it. We all have our own different ways. Like for instance, to give you an example of exactly this point that I'm making, like being yourself, doing something that expresses the magic, that means something to you, but it can also mean something to the audience, and not being so stuck about what is expected of you, is when I was doing my TED Talk, I stood on that dot for maybe like 30 seconds and then I moved away from it. I was just using the stage. I was speaking like in the same way that I've been doing for such a long time, but also that I've learned from my mentors. And the funny thing is that a lot, or I don't know if it was all of my fellow TED speakers, everybody stood on their dot, which again is not a bad thing because that's what most TED speakers do. But I just felt like, no, I'm not going to stand there. I'm not going to be confined to just a dot. I'm going to go and be free and I'm going to move. I'm going to speak to the audience. I'm going to get the audience to do a hoo-ha-hoo. We're going to make magic here. And that's like one of those things. Like, don't be confined just by one thing. Like, obviously, don't do crazy things that are not ethical or that are not right and that hurt people. But allow yourself to be free. And allow yourself to do what you love to do and that will bring your unique magic to other people. And also, for those of you that did see my TED Talk, and if you didn't, by the way, you can just Google it, you can YouTube it. Just type in Tjibaria TEDx. And because I am the only one with my name, you'll find me very easily. You can watch the TED Talk. I started the TED Talk by singing. And it was interesting. I don't know if anybody picked up on it, but I had just watched the latest version of the Hunger Games. And I was just so mesmerized with the songs that the main lead female character was singing, that actually the melody that I was singing to was inspired by one of the melodies from the movie, but I just came up with my own lyrics for that that piece that I did. But it was inspired that like the melody was the same, and I don't know if anybody can guess which song that the melody was borrowed from. So let me know in the comments. But that's very unusual too. I don't think I've seen any other TED Talk where someone starts by singing. And if there is one, let me know, but I certainly haven't seen any. And I was just like, man, that's what I'm gonna do. I love to sing, so I'm gonna bring my magic through singing. And what happened as well is that when I came up, that the audience that had seen so many talks already, they were like, huh, what's this person doing? And then from that moment, the connection started. And I can do my piece in an already easier way because I had people's attention. It was so different that it instantly connected. And so those are my 2 tips for today. Massively inspired by my mentors. I want to give a massive shout out to my dad, who has been to all my presentations in the Netherlands when I did that for the wormholes, and he's been at so many of our events in the business land, and virtually has been seeing the entire evolution and has been so influential to this day in helping me tweak certain things to make our events even better. And that's why I'm so excited for everybody coming to Project 1 Million in 1 Year, because this has been so many years in the making, and that's why we see so many people come to our events and have such a tremendous empowered experience. But also I want to give a massive shout out to Master Sri Akashna, who really has such a powerful way of training people to speak, not just as a speaker, but as a person that connects and really moves the audience. I've learned so much from him. And I want to give a shout out to Michael Jackson that talks about making magic, because making magic will make a difference. And I hope this video was useful for you. So let me know in the comments if you took anything away from this video, if it was beneficial, was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if any of these things, if you start incorporating it, that it may be super useful for you. And also let me know if you're coming to Project 1 Million in 1 Year. We are starting on the 6th of November. 2024, which is the year of the creation of this video. If you're watching this video in the future, then still click on the link, because we'll probably have something else that will be Project 1 Million in 1 Yearable. So go ahead and click there still, and otherwise inquire about it. But most of all, incorporate this wherever this may benefit you in your journey towards growing and doing good. And I wish you all the best with that, and I'll catch you tomorrow for another video. Hoo, ha, hoo, bye!